why anyone would want to speak to 700 libertarians, noisy people as you are, I have no idea. What you're going to hear tonight, though, is my remarks on essentially the Mad Men theme. We know that the Mad Men deal with advertising, communication, marketing. These are all the central themes of that TV series. But we also recognize, those of us who watch the show, that while the Mad Men are brilliant at selling soap, they rarely try to sell the system that makes soap and all the other things in life that we live with possible. They don't sell capitalism. We at CEI do. The Mad Men do sell products, food, soaps, food, cars, iPads, and everything else, but they don't sell capitalism. Why? They might, but the businessmen who employ them rarely ask them to. Ads, as the businessman community sees it, are focused on one thing: consumers, trying to find consumers to buy more of your product. Show them how your products advance their self-interest. Essentially, buy my product. You'll enjoy it. It'll make you smarter. It'll make you more prestigious. It'll make you really wonderful. And nobody will ever be able to kick sand in your face again. But while the productivity of capitalism is linked to you and I as consumers through the role of advertising, it does more than that. In a way, even the consumer ads help us in a way grow, because by helping us understand both what we need and what we might need if we understood it better, we pull innovations out of capitalism and we diffuse them throughout our society. That ability to essentially accelerate that diffusion process is one of the reasons that market economies, with the advertising freedoms we allow, more quickly create wealth than any system in the history of the world. But while they market consumers, us as consumers, they rarely market us as citizens. And the result, we have this schizophrenic attitude that we all experience. We love our cars, but so many of us are willing to regulate automobility. We all want clean clothes, clean dishes, but we're too eager to regulate phosphates. We love the internet, but how many times have we been hearing lately, let's restrict information sharing? Information sharing is the only way that the internet can become sustainably profitable. Business has asked the Mad Men today to do only half the job. They need to sell product, that's what business is about, but they also need to legitimize the system that makes it possible, to legitimize the firm, the product, because only by doing can they reduce their political vulnerability to the predation that is so common in the Washington world. That neglect was not so important when government was small, but if any of you have checked, government is not small anymore. It's intervening everywhere in our economy, and to neglect half of the threat to your profitability is foolish and too often a reality. Think of where business used to be. We're talking about the 1950s, the 1960s. In a way, one of the golden ages of advertising. And those of you who are more venerable age, like myself, or those of you who had parents who made you watch some of these things, know that in that day there were some really great ads. General Electric brought better things to life. AT&T suggested reach out and touch someone. DuPont promised better living through chemistry. And Dinosaur regaled us all with "See the USA in your Chevrolet." There was a willingness to understand that they weren't just selling products. They were part of the good life. They were part of an America we could all be proud of, offering us mobility, offering us the connectivity, the ability to reach our loved ones throughout America, basically showing that technology did not just help make us a little richer, it allowed us to be healthier, wealthier, and a fairer society. The earlier generations of businessmen seemed to understand that you needed to do two things through your communication strategy: both sell your product and legitimize your product. Increasing your sales, and that makes profitable, but making sure that government couldn't screw you around too much. Reducing your vulnerability, and that increased profits. Both are important, But business back then believed it, and they said so. They don't today. Modern madmen do what? They adopt variants of the mea culpa, mea maxima culpa strategy. We're sorry that we don't meet the utopian demands of our critics. We're sorry that we still have some elements of pollution, that our products sometimes fail, that our workforce isn't paid at the same level of Wall Street bankers. All of those things we're sorry about. They never say what they're proud about. They spend a lot of time saying they're not as bad as you think they are. They say almost nothing about why inherently they're proud to be a part of the good society. The BPs of the world, for example, and other energy companies, rush around asking their customers to use less energy. Use less energy as an energy company. It suggests that, well, we're certainly ashamed of producing energy. We hope you're equally ashamed of using it. How can you be a capitalist firm based on that market? You know, but more prosaically, how many of you have been to a hotel in America lately without being a little irate? You know, remember at one time hotels used to brag about how comfortable their beds were. Now they have placards saying how infrequently they wash their sheets and towels. I've asked about it, and they say, focus groups say it's a sensible strategy. You know, corporate annual reports used to be full of discussions of how the company was being a good buy for the shareholders. Nowadays, they apologize over and over again for failing to meet the stakeholders' demands. Everyone who's not in that literature probably doesn't quite understand the difference between shareholders, the owners of companies, and stakeholders, the individuals who try to drive a stake through the heart of the company. It's a difference there. Has anyone tried to explain to these strategists that you can never apologize your way to respect until you're seen as doing something morally good, something societally valuable? It doesn't help to say we're doing less of bad things. People have to realize you've got some net good things to offset those. The result of all this is we have seen a steady reduction in the private sphere in America, a steady expansion of the politicized sphere. In today's world, we see what? Sin products that can be attacked at will. Tobacco yesterday, soft drinks and fast foods today, and God knows what tomorrow. Products today are walking through a minefield of political correctness. Cars are designed, appliances are designed, our light bulbs are designed, not to meet our desires, but to meet the faddish inputs of the latest group of regulatory bureaucrats. Activists attack business across the board on many fronts, pushing resolutions at shareholder meetings that, if enacted, would cripple businesses' ability to manage a company, to bullying firms into defunding their allies, basically saying, if you're a business community, if you're a businessman, you should pledge that if arrested, you will never seek defense counsel. This is insane, and yet businessmen too often fall into it. The goal of all this, and it's very simple, is to drive economic, moral voices from the marketplace of ideas. And if you do that, if you strive the economic voices, free market voices, from the arena where policy is formed, you're left with what? Ideologues? History does not suggest that driving economic voices and leaving ideologues to run our future is something that any of us should look forward to. Capitalism is at risk, and we at CEI take that risk very seriously. And we don't think that challenge is necessarily that hard. Nothing has done more to expand freedom of choice, to give people an opportunity to have a more efficient, more productive economy and a very competitive world economy, and to democratize the elite privileges that once were restricted to a handful of people. Capitalism not only advances the freedom values of libertarians, the stability, efficiency, economic values of conservatives, traditional values of conservatives, but the egalitarian values for giving the poor a chance to get out of poverty. Capitalism is not something just for libertarians, not just something for conservatives. It's for all Americans, and we should make that case much more fervently than we have to date. So what do we want to hope for? We really want to hope for a world where a Don Draper in the near future meets an Adam Smith. His birthday's today, and he may well be an ancestor. He's certainly a spiritual ancestor of mine. They meet, and they basically talk about what Adam Smith is hoping that Don Draper can sell. A visible hand, voluntary associations, non-zero-sum game transactions. Freedom is a way of making everyone better off, not just the people who are directly involved, but through the transmission to other people, making the world better. Liberate mankind, as Wayne Cruz and my staff says. All you have to do to free men, to create wealth, is to move the rocks off the lawn, and the grass will grow very, very high. Adam Smith is trying to tell Don Draper, can you help us sell the idea of getting government out of the way and let the creative entrepreneurial spirits of people around the world trump? Don Draper looks at him sort of cynically for a while, and he says, you know, this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And that beautiful friendship between the advertising world and the world of entrepreneurial development, business, is something that once existed. It could again, and making that happen is not something mad at all. Thank you very much.